Shams, what is the latest from the Mavericks?
Chiney, Kyrie Irving, I'm told, has a bulging disc in his back. He will miss at least about a week or two with the injury. He was reevaluated today, and there is optimism that over the coming days he's going to have some treatment on that back and be able to come up with a return to play target date. But now this means that the Mavericks will be without Irving for at least this next short-term period of time. But also they're without their second star player in Luka Doncic, who will be reevaluated at the tail end of January. And so just a tough blow here in the short term. Dallas on a back-to-back in Memphis tonight and then against the Lakers on Tuesday in Dallas.
Yeah, it seems like Dallas seems to be hurting without their top two scorers out in the West. But now to another developing story on Friday. The Heat handed out a 7-game suspension to Jimmy Butler for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team. The suspension would last through Miami's current 6-game West Coast road trip. So Shams, what's next for Jimmy and the Miami Heat?
It's finding out where exactly Jimmy Butler will be playing basketball. And I'm told the Heat are engaged with multiple teams on Butler trades. The goal being to move Butler sooner rather than later, given everything that transpired with the suspension and the untenable state that he left this organization after that suspension in those 2 games that he played last week. But it's really a balance between patience and trying to get this trade done sooner rather than later. But they need to get exactly what they want to remain competitive in the Eastern Conference. They're going to prioritize, from what I'm told, players that they feel can help them, as well as flexibility in trade. So until they get that exactly, it's hard to move on and make a move with the trade deadline still 1 month away. But one thing I can't say, the Phoenix Suns, we've been talking about it for the better part of the last month. They have an interest in Jimmy Butler. That Bradley Beal contract is a non-starter right now for Miami.
All right, it makes the situation a little bit more complex. Thank you so much, Shams, for joining and breaking down that news. The trade deadline, as you mentioned, is only 1 month away from today. And if we're talking about the Miami Heat right now, they embark on a 6-game West Coast road trip starting tonight in Sacramento that will cover the remainder of Jimmy Butler's suspension. And Jimmy now will be eligible to play next on January 17th back home against the Nuggets. So, Ramona, where do the Heat go from here?
Well, as Shams said, like they're engaged in multiple discussions on Jimmy Butler, but I think they're also, from what I understand, preparing for him to return. Like, they expect him, if they don't have a trade done, that if they don't have something that is good for them, they're only, the way it was phrased, they're only going to make a trade that's a good trade. They're not trading him under duress right now. That is a 7-game suspension, and at the end of that, they'll be back home. They're prepared for him to show up and be ready and rejoin the team. What could go wrong?
You know what's crazy? In public, in the press, it seems like duress, but they really have to deal with the process and the realities that this may take longer than you think.
Their priorities are not necessarily taking back big contracts and big money after if they make a trade here.
Time to go coast to coast after a stacked weekend. And, of course, I'm hosting the show, so we're going to show some Rockets Lakers in H-Town. Man, this is a good one. And
a game for Jalen Green.
It was, exactly.
Like
Third quarter.
The moves, don't it?
Jalen Green gets the block on one end. Yup, throws it down to Amen Thompson for the jam. But, y'all, hold on. Less than a minute later, another exciting play. This time from LeBron, who, by the way, passed MJ on Friday for most 30-point games in NBA history. One-legged Bron.
That's a dirt shot. I love it.
Is that the dirt, like, from 3?
I guess. With his leg up like that.
Fourth quarter, Rockets. I mean, this is a prayer. This is a prayer answer, right? Especially when your name is on there.
Oaktown.
That was a pass.
That was a prayer and a pass. Lakers down 4, 12 seconds left. LeBron.
Not 40.
Come on. 40 where? Now, after Houston made 1 of 2 free throws, Lakers with a chance down 3 with 7 seconds left. And look, Van Vliet takes it away. Take another look. It looks like LeBron is trying to call a timeout, but Christie is already throwing the ball in. Very tough break for the Lakers. 5 seconds left, though. Lakers down 4. LeBron gets it on the inbound, hits the 3, but AD is called for an illegal screen. The Lakers cannot execute down the stretch, and the Rockets win this one 119-115. Let's keep it pushing as the Cleveland Cavaliers continue rolling with a win behind Darius Garland's 19th 20-point-plus performance so far this season. Cleveland is now 31-4, the best 35-game start in franchise history. David, what do you expect on Wednesday when the Cavs face the Thunder?
Look, don't look now, but the Cleveland Cavs are on a 72 to 73 game pace right now. But I think in order for them to beat the Thunder, it's about the stars, about Donovan Mitchell having to be the best player on the court and getting off offensively and everybody else following his lead.
You know who else is hot? The Prez. CJ McCollum had a great weekend, starting off with 10 threes on Friday and tying a 50-point career high to leading the Pelicans in a win. You said Grandpa over the Wizards. You crazy on Sunday. Still without Zion. Now, Ramona, what are you hearing about Zion's timeline?
Well, he's getting close, and the reports out of the Pelicans camp are that he looks great in his rehab. Like, he's done some 5-on-5. They put it on their team social media. He's the lightest and the leanest he's been, and when I'm told, he's attacked this rehab process and coming back soon.
So it's giving 2025, new year, new me energy. We like it. We stand. Now, the Kings, they blew out the Warriors without Jonathan Kuminga, who was sidelined 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. It was the Kings' 5th game since the surprising decision to let go of head coach Mike Brown and Warriors coach Steve Kerr. He did not hold back about his former assistant and close friend before the game. Take a listen.
Mike's a great friend and great coach, and I'm still in shock, with the Kings coming here tonight. I'm in shock that he got fired. I mean, it's the job he's done the last couple of years, where that team is, where that franchise is now, compared to when he came aboard.
So, Marc, you were in the Chase Center last night where the Kings picked up their 4th straight win, going 4-1 since firing Mike Brown. What insight do you have into the decision-making happening in Sacramento?
Very strange, very odd decision. About 3 weeks ago, Mike Brown, from what I was told, was asked to get rid of one of his assistant coaches, not named Doug Christie. Doug Christie was a holdover from the previous staff, and Mike refused to do it. And then obviously they went on and they had that really, really tough loss against Detroit and a lot of emotions afterwards. And, Mike spoke openly about his frustration with Fox's defense. And then the next day, a decision was made, an emotional decision I was told was made for Mike to go that did not come from the front office of basketball. It came from ownership, it came from management, and management have not talked, but it's interesting that the basketball operations have not talked yet. Usually a general manager will at least speak, and I'd kind of taken it that they don't want to speak because it wasn't their decision, it was the people above them's decision. So there's a lot of fingers being pointed, a lot of reasons we could come up with for why, but it's still kind of confusing why that emotion led to that quick decision.
Which is why post-game it was really interesting to hear from players. Malik Monk had this to say about what's fueling their success so far under their interim head coach, Doug Christie.
That we bought into what DC doing. We all just bought into it right now. And, we all feel good and we're confident in what he's saying.
Are you able to articulate that at all, like what it is about maybe him or his messaging that just resonates with this guy, with this group?
He's a player. He played before, so I think he knows how to say it to us a little better than people that didn't play the game before.
Ramona, how do you interpret what Monk said? Because clearly he's trying to make a point about him being a player and making that a little bit more relatable for him, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I caught him when they came through LA. It was the first game after they had fired Mike Brown, and Malik Monk flat out said, I said, what was the difference between 2 years ago when you guys were the toast of the NBA and now? And he said, I think the rest of the league figured us out. We got stagnant. We had to make a change because people figured out what we were doing. And same thing about Doug Christie. He played before. And look, Malik Monk is starting now. Obviously, he's in a good place with Doug Christie, and things are better for him and with Doug Christie as a head coach. But I just think they lost a lot of games in December. And I know what Marc is talking about 3 weeks ago. They've been in on every trade discussion you've heard. They thought about shaking up the staff just to do something to shake things up because they were
sound NFL-ish,
so
right?
much.
Not NBA-ish. Sounds more NFL-ish.
Well, look,
right?
they lost a lot of games in December, and they went from thinking that this was going to be a great year for them after they acquired DeMar DeRozan in the offseason to, whoa, we are falling out of the playoff race. And so I think sometimes when you just lose that much in that period of time, especially 5 in a row at home, the way they lost, sometimes the coach just pays the price for the extended losing streak.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, at least to me when it comes to Sacramento, you tend to want to see these decisions and see everyone in alignment. It doesn't seem like that's the case, but I think that's because of the pressure. Pressure not only on the coach, but there's also pressure on the players. But that's just not just one team.
It felt lighter last night.
When
they got a tough, typically when a coach gets fired, it's good tidings. Everybody's playing hard and playing great and all together. They got some tough games going up. Let's see what the real Kings are.
Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's 88 over here,